Okay, this is episode 402, Breathe. It was written by Thomas Schnauz and directed by Michelle MacLaren. It can't be. I'm Peter Gould, the co-creator and executive producer of the show.
I am Tom Schnauz, the writer of this episode.
I'm Mark Johnson, one of the executive producers.
I'm Michael Mando. I play Nacho.
Patrick Fabian. I play Howard Hamlin.
Michelle MacLaren, and I was lucky enough to direct this episode.
Well, we were lucky enough to get you. This is your second return engagement. And so, Tom, what's going on in this scene?
I don't know. I don't remember any of this. This is our doctor who appears in Breaking Bad in the great episode After Salute, right? The crawl
That's
space.
right.
He takes care of Gus and Jonathan Banks. And here he is examining Hector Salamanca in his hotel room. And right now we don't know what he's doing, but there's Victor.
I like the fact that it starts in silence, and it's pieces, and you have no idea what's going on, and you see people in the background, but they're in shadow. So it's a very disorienting scene.
Did you direct J.B. Blank on Breaking Bad?
I don't think so.
What about Jeremiah?
Jeremiah, yes,
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely,
For
yes.
sure. Absolutely. There's so many returning faces on this episode. It was very exciting for me to see everybody. And of course, we know who that is.
This is our exorcist shot.
Exorcist
This
shot,
is Exorcist. Yeah.
absolutely.
I actually did Tom, you wrote that reference in the script, and I went and got the movie box, and
I
we
love this
copied it.
shot so much, and the lighting. The reveal is just great.
You know, this was a shot that I came up with when we were scouting, and we went to the hospital to see what it was at night, and we're walking back to the car, and I saw the reflection in the car, and I went, oh, wait a minute, this is beautiful. So that's how we picked the exact spot where we were going to park the car.
Might it be different if he was
This teaser used to be set at an airport.
Johns Hopkins?
That's right.
There was a whole setup of how Gus Fring meets the doctor who eventually takes care of Hector, and it was deemed too large to do, I think, which was probably correct. It was going to be set in an airport in like Germany or somewhere, and it became more interesting. And instead of seeing how he gets the doctor to the discussion you hear here about.
Well, when did it become Johns Hopkins?
He's what he deserves.
The doctor they bring
The doctor,
in?
it was always going to be a doctor from Johns Hopkins. Originally, Gus was going to go out and convince this doctor to be part of it, which he does somewhere off screen now. Originally, we were going to see his methods of how he did it.
I love that we get to see why, we get to understand why Gus is so obsessed with Mark Margolis's health. And I never knew that during Breaking Bad, that he actually influenced and was controlling it.
I think that was the best reason to change up those teasers, is just to reset and to deepen what Gus is feeling about Hector.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. What's that thing that he does under the foot? Why does he...
Oh, it's checking to see if there's any reflexes
Oh, reflexes.
on the foot.
That's what it is.
And so Ray had to put this cast on for real every day for months.
For 7 episodes.
That's right.
That's brutal. And then
Not complain. I would say she
Yeah.
rarely complained. Every now and then she'd be like, it's itchy, it's hard, but she was... Tom just gave me an aside, like, yeah, she complained every day.
There was
No, never. I gave you an aside because I feel like my microphone is making a noise, but okay.
we did something fun with the camera here because Bob was moving back and forth and he was kind of not focusing on reality and stuff. And we used part of it, not part of it, but I like it. It's pretty cool. I think Marshall came up with that idea.
It's the camera moves sort of like a pendulum with
Yeah.
Jimmy in parts of this.
Exactly.
Because it's all, you've got all his energy and you're kind of reflecting it with the way you shoot, which is so wonderful. It's fun.
Was it on a dolly or was it handheld?
I think that part of it, we actually took out the back wall, and I think we put it on some type of track on the counter, if I remember correctly. Or we might have taken the whole thing out and put it on a dolly.
Paul Donahue, our A-camera operator, is a genius with a slider, which is basically
It was actually Paul's. It was Paul's idea. Yeah.
It's like a piece of track, but it's very small, and he just allows him to slide the camera from place to place, which is really works well in some circumstances.
Or Mexican. I'm gonna pick up dinner on the way back.
And Jimmy, Jimmy is really. It's an interesting episode and an interesting point of the season because he is really a puzzle to Kim here. He just in the last episode he just buried his brother, and now he seems to have a spring in his step, which seems strange, I think, to Kim.
Mm-hmm. Oh. This was a surprisingly difficult shot to get with a big truck coming like that at the camera, even though it's obviously going very slow. You have to be really careful. And we had to do this a few times. And if you notice when the truck comes up, the camera's not in front of it. So it's very simple looking, but it's actually kind of complicated to shoot.
It's one of the things I love about your eye, Michelle, is the Z-axis. You love to put things moving right up to camera and back and forth. You just have such a wonderful way, unique way of staging things.
Oh, thank
and
you.
the way you use lenses is also very, very you.
Oh,
It's just wonderful. You can just pick out a Michelle MacLaren and see, oh, look at that.
That's very sweet.
It's all laid out so beautifully.
We wanted to scare you a little bit. We wanted it to be a reveal that Michael was there waiting for him.
Yeah, and I have to say, to echo what Peter was saying, there's such a rhythm to your directing that you see within the actors and the camera. There's like a unison between what the camera's doing and the rhythm that the actors are doing that is so unique and engaging.
Oh, thanks, you guys. I'll give you your $20 after.
So Michael, did you and Giancarlo get together beforehand to work on this scene, or are you seeing each other for the first time when you get to set, or how does that work?
I think Giancarlo and I like to meet up to talk and just hang out, but we never talk about the scene until we start shooting. We very rarely discuss it. I think we both think that if we discuss it, then we won't be able to surprise each other.
I love how Tom wrote the scene, there's very little dialogue, and it's all in the visuals, and it's what's not said, and the tension between the two of you is wonderful.
And I love the callback to the previous season when Hector lays the money out.
In the threes, right?
In the threes, he puts it out this very same way.
And I saw in the podcast, Vince Gilligan talking about how this is one of his favorite shots, having Juan Carlos's character in the light and Nacho in the darkness, and then it turns into a two-shot.
Yeah, it's wonderful how you guys hold the screen. It takes a little while, but every moment is worth seeing to me. And of course, Michelle gave us. Michelle, with Michelle's footage, you always give us a lot of options, and you have a lot of options yourself. But you were just so right to just hang on that.
How much money was that? It doesn't look like that much.
I don't remember.
This is a producer question.
Right. How much money was that?
There were a lot of 50s
Well,
there.
producer answer is too much.
Quick, somebody get me a producer.
I think it was like a first payment. I don't think it was what he would have paid for the whole.
I'm sure that's true.
It was a little taste.
Yeah.
I loved how graphic this location was with the ceiling and the posts and everything.
This location was a great find, and what a job Judy Ray
This was empty when we walked in.
Oh,
it was
really?
just cement and nothing
That's
was in here.
amazing.
I love those turnstiles. I mean, the turntables there.
This is Judy and also an amazing crew led by Paula, her art director Paula DeSantos and DeSanto, and Steve Brown, our construction coordinator. And literally, I think the first time I saw this place was just a week or so before you guys shot, and there was nothing there. It's just, and now it looks, for me, it looks like a place that's been there for a long time. And what a weird location.
Very weird location that was selected because of what happens in the next episode.
Yes, that's true.
This actor Michael Naughton is a good friend of Bob's, and the actor who plays Mr. Neff, Andrew Friedman. They're all three of them are good friends. They did an amazing job here because there's such subtlety in the scene. I feel like Jimmy's really starting to become Saul, and in this scene we start to see a little bit of Saul starting to come through.
For years, I've been seeing Michael and Andrew at the UCB Theater here in Los Angeles, the comedy theater. They're actually a team. They write together and they act together, and they also do individual work, and they're just wonderful. And so when they came in to audition, there was just great chemistry.
So when these guys were in Albuquerque doing this episode, they did an improv night. And you went, Michael, didn't you?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it was amazing. It was clearly these guys have a lot of improv experience, and Bob did it too with them.
This sequence is. I'm so happy with the way this whole sequence is laid out. It's so psychological that this guy, he works so hard to get this job, and then when he gets it, he doesn't want it. It feels like it encapsulates so much of what goes on in this season. And
it's all in his head because he doesn't know he's going to turn it down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can just see it all.
And then he feels like he doesn't deserve it.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's going to sabotage it.
Yes.
Did you shoot this? You didn't shoot this all in one day, did you?
I don't think so. I don't remember.
I feel like Neff was 2 days.
I think so. Yeah.
All three of these guys are like at the top of their game. And just I can hold on a close up of any one of them throughout the scene. It's just so fun, both funny and you scratch your head. Where's this going?
We actually did rehearse this ahead of time. When the guys flew in, we had a prep day and we rehearsed, which was invaluable.
I don't have any, except
Yeah, you're right, Tom. It was 2 days.
What did you do when you rehearsed with them before? What was your process?
Well, the set was dressed, and so we rehearsed on location, and we talked about what was really going on in the scene, and then we read it a few times, and I think we roughly blocked it out, and we got to have a conversation about each of the characters and their relationships to one another and what we were going for at any given moment. These guys are such pros that they come, as you guys, as Patrick and Michael do, they come prepared and they come having thought what the scene's about and where their character's at and everything. It's great.
I really like it when directors rehearse on set, because I find if you rehearse outside of the set, the distance of the furniture and all that kind of stuff really impacts the rhythm of a scene. So it's really useful to do it on set.
Which is a luxury in episodic television. But it's great when you can.
It's amazing that there was a set there the day before.
It was amazing. And actually, we added a piece of furniture at Bob's request, which was the copier in this office for this coming scene.
Yeah, that worked out great. I couldn't quite picture it when it was pitched, but seeing it now, it's just having him stand over it.
Yeah, it worked really well.
And pitch how important the machine is to.
I'm going to take some time and consider your options, but maybe we can.
So there wasn't, as conceived originally, there wasn't a copier there for him to reference physically.
And when we were rehearsing, Bob said, could we do this? And we brought it in. We was like, yeah, it helps a lot. It looks great.
But what are the chances one of them's going to?
This was a challenging scene for Bob because it's very subtle. He, as you guys were saying, he goes from selling and really wanting this job and being really positive, enthusiastic, to doing a complete 180.
I worked in the mailroom. I know how important the copy machine is.
And it almost feels like he doesn't even know exactly why he's doing it. It's that snatching defeat from the jaws of victory.
Yeah.
This happens a few times this season because I think he's a little bit of a mystery to himself, or at least that's the way we intended it. And I think that was tricky. It was tricky for all of us to try to understand why he's doing what he's doing at each moment, and also it was tricky for Bob because it wasn't obvious. There was a lot of imagination and thinking that had to go into what does it feel like to do something that you didn't intend a second earlier. And it was, boy, all the work paid off.
There's not a logic to it. It's completely emotional.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
He
So
does it twice in this episode. He gets accepted and he can't take it, so he sabotages it, and then later on, he has lovely sex with his lady, and the first thing he does is go out and get on the computer and go look up a potential crime here after seeing the Hummels in the office.
I think he feels so bad about himself, blames himself for Chuck's death, but doesn't realize that. And so he's actually more comfortable doing bad things than he is doing good.
Tom, how did you know so much about copiers? Seriously, did you research it, or are you?
I mean, I've worked at an office and had to deal with copiers, and it's so I just
No, but it sounds so genuine. Sounds like somebody who's actually had his hands in there
You
with,
actually do your work,
with ink
Tom?
and the rollers.
I've had problem with copiers in my life.
Michelle, when do you decide on your? Do you read a script and then start deciding this is going to be a great place for a pan? This is going to be in a wide. Do you break it down when you're reading it?
I do, but it's always rough because you go in and you have a suggestion of how to block it with the actors, but the actors might have other ideas, something out of the rehearsal might change, it might evolve, so you have to be prepared for that. So I definitely go in with a plan, mostly because we don't have a lot of time, and so you go with a plan and then you're prepared for that plan to change. But if you have a rough plan, then you know what it is that you want to say in the scene. You know what the purpose is, whose point of view, the arc, all those kind of things.
And it ends with the suckers line, which just that feeling he has about his own father being a sucker, being taken advantage of by a con artist. He can't stand it.
In this scene, I think this little beat at the end is so important to know that he doesn't walk out of there and stay mad. He just goes back.
I agree.
Right.
It's so revealing of who he's becoming.
He just goes back to it.
It's like when you have a tooth that hurts and you can't stop playing with it, and it keeps hurting, but you just can't let it go.
I think it's drained weirdly of humanity, right? It's so detached.
Mm-hmm.
And that's frightening because then there's nothing, like what's tethering him.
It's interesting because I think it's very human the way he's dealing with Chuck's death. In movies and drama, people feel things instantly because that's more dramatic. You feel it right away. In my life, I've seen that oftentimes I don't feel the reaction to events until much later, and in surprising ways. And I think we were trying to find that way to do that with Jimmy. And now that shot seems familiar somehow.
That's a Tom Schnauz special.
Is it?
It's a direct callback to Breaking Bad, episode 507.
Which Tom directed.
Say My Name, where Kaylee is swinging in the park. It's the last time Mike sees Kaylee.
Right.
So I did go back
Spoiler
to 507 and
You haven't watched Breaking Bad. Sorry, everyone.
but we lined up the shot exactly to match the Breaking Bad shot.
It's the same park.
No.
We looked at the same park, and for some reason,
It was a scheduling thing because we were going to the
that's right. It was,
other location. And this was freezing cold on this day. I can't believe we don't see his breath.
Yeah, a lot of people don't
Okay, a little
realize
bit.
that it gets incredible. It snows in Albuquerque.
Really cold, yeah. And all those people in the background running around, they have jackets on in between takes.
Did Jonathan complain the entire time about the
No,
cold?
he was actually pretty
He
good.
muscled it
are
through?
you kidding me? I don't believe that for a second.
And where is this? What's this crazy location?
This is Hotel Chaco. Chaco? Is that how you say it?
Chaco, yeah.
I think it's Chaco.
Chaco. So when I landed in Albuquerque, I was on my way to the hotel, and the driver said, "Hey, there's a new hotel in town. It's really beautiful. You got to check it out." So we scouted it the next morning, and I looked at it and I thought this would be great for where Lydia's staying, because I thought I love the idea that Jonathan Mike has to go to a location that he's not comfortable in, and that Lydia, where she would say, is so different from the world that Better Call Saul mostly takes place. And then I moved into the hotel because it's really nice.
It's a nice hotel.
I love the look.
I think I love it because as we originally conceived it, it was like a Holiday Inn conference room, more or less. And this is you just elevated Lydia's world,
Well,
which
I
I think
just-
just makes a state, and it's also,
Yeah.
by the way, it's so damn funny when Banks walks in
Yeah,
there. And
it's
they're-
great.
And they're playing whale songs or whatever. I forget what the music is really good.
Well,
not
that noise
impressed with
he
the
makes
statue.
after he sees the sculpture.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's great. He's so out of place. And we did look at the other location. I just thought Lydia wouldn't stay here. There's no
that
way.
was a great
was a
move on,
great
on
ad.
your part. And this was originally the first scene of the act. And as we were looking at the script, I just felt like I have no idea where Mike's head is at. And it just felt like it needed the scene that we added with his granddaughter. It just sort of helped set him in place.
Oh, that's smart. Yeah.
That's something I see. You come up with those a lot, Tom. Where it's like it's like it feels like sometimes you have a sense of where we really need a place setting scene like that or something, which are a little slice of life. It's something.
And it's just going
really
back
good.
to the original method of breaking stories. Where's the character's head at? And then, if you're reading the script, and you get into it, and you're like, well, what is he thinking as he enters this place? And I don't know. Something is wrong, and so it's either add something or change something, and it helps.
I also love the contrast between this dangerous character and the sweet grandpa.
Absolutely.
Two faces of Mike.
Is the painting part of it, when you guys use paintings like that? Are they always part of the set, or does it have to be ours?
I think it has to be ours or we have to clear it. I think it's covering something.
Yeah, I think there was a TV there.
Yeah. So it's a nice
right.
painting. But every time you see art, we do have to have it cleared.
Or a tattoo.
Or a tattoo.
Or,
You have to have it.
Yeah.
or graffiti.
Yeah.
Or graffiti, yeah.
At the moment, you have Gus Fring's respect.
We see the show as a story. Lawyers see it as a bundle of rights.
This was so fun for me to, and I know you guys do this on Better Call Saul every day, but to come in and learn and work with the story, which is a prequel to Breaking Bad, and see where their relationship started.
It's so weird. This is such a funny moment. I love this
He did a great
this
job.
actor's he's wonderful. John Jarrett.
Yeah, he's very funny. And we named him Dr. DeSeth after our own Peter DeSeth, who plays ADA or DDA Oakley,
Oakley, yes.
because we love him. And we were sort of thinking of him as a character here, and let's just try to get a Peter DeSeth type to play the doctor.
Severe cases in the ward, including Mr. Salamanca.
Johns Hopkins.
Yes, a generous grant came through.
So our cousins are back. That's always fun.
This is such a great setup that how Gus drops, they have the conversation about John Hopkins and then she shows up. It's awesome. I was so happy to see the cousins when I got there.
Oh, you work so well with them.
They're so scary looking and they're the sweetest guys.
Sweetest guys.
On toes. We can co-manage care if you like. We can.
No.
Here's the chart. Thank you very much.
And
He did a
Puna's
good
really
job.
good too. She is this doctor. She is
Oh,
terrific.
she's fantastic, yeah.
And she just brings this authority to the scene.
It was such a great casting getting her, because we needed somebody who had that authority, who sort of could command the room and also speak fluent Spanish. And she just comes in and just nails it.
I love how unthreatened she is from with the cousins.
Quiero decirles que su tío está recibiendo.
Yeah, we needed somebody to just come in and just sort of handle these guys.
Yeah, she's operating on like 3 cylinders. She's an expert doctor. She's compassionate, and she's fearless at the same time.
Powerful, yeah.
And of course, she's getting something out of it, I guess. We find out later in the season. No spoilers. Although, really, you should watch the whole season before you
And
listen
then
to
come back and
Commentators.
listen to us.
That's
both of
right.
us.
Or don't listen to us at all. Just watch the show again.
Michael did such a great job with this because you realize when he's walking into this room and he knows the cousins are here, he's the reason that Mark Margolis is in
Right.
the bed.
Yes.
So it's that subtle thing of not showing any fear, but he's thinking, oh my God, are they going to find out it was me? What were you thinking, Michael, at this moment?
It was the first time that I see, it's kind of, I don't know if I should go into this, but the first time I ever saw a dead body in my life, I was about like 8, 9 years old. And it felt like that for me. It was kind of that feeling of seeing someone that was animated kind of still like that and feel, in a very weird way, sort of responsible and maybe a little sad and guilty that I had to hurt somebody. But at the same time, wanting to hurt him. It's kind of like both of those axes are happening at the same time.
I have to say, Tom, when I read this scene, I knew exactly where I was putting the camera at this moment.
And I'll admit, I was a little worried of this scene as being an act out because it's a comedic moment, but then it has this dramatic turn, or you're seeing Nacho's worry at the end of it. So I didn't, usually it was something more definitive at the end of an act.
Right.
But the way you guys did it was perfect.
Well, we did something that Vince started in the pilot, and that was using a zoom. And I did it in 102. And so when we were doing this, there was a couple of times I thought that we could incorporate it, and this was actually one of them.
Yeah, no, it was perfect.
It's interesting
perfect
how
moment.
you keep it wide. You have 4 faces to look at. You don't cut to anybody in particular, and it makes it interestingly the audience seems to be like in Hector's mind.
But then you do this great pan. It's coming up here. From the cousins to these two guys over to these two.
This was
on the spot.
completely contrived.
It was really fun.
I think, Michael, there was a couple of breaking the moment, bursting out laughing, wasn't there? I mean,
It was
we had a
little bit-
couple of.
For those who don't know, Michel was off camera saying, "Look, look now."
And here's your zoom.
That's right. One of my favorite Michelle moments is on episode 510 of Breaking Bad, where Laura's she's down in the underground super lab, and the guns are going off upstairs, and you're off camera going bang, 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 bang.
That's true. That was a great look that you gave, Michael, because it was one of those things where everybody's looking at you and you can't give away what you're really thinking, but you have to give away what you're really thinking. And you did an excellent job.
And it
with
helps
that.
with what you did with the camera when you zoomed away from everybody else, and then Nacho was the only person on camera. The audience felt like no one else could see him.
Exactly, yeah.
So that helps.
That's great.
I remember when we scouted this location, there was all this construction like right behind where the camera is. Was it still there when you shot?
Oh, it was still there. Yep. This was tricky because it looked very different. If you did a reverse, it looked very different because it massive construction. But we
That's
were
where we
able to
had
shoot
our
right.
rap party.
This is the roof of the Hotel Chaco. It's one of the most beautiful locations in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
It really is.
We had our rap party for the season.
Yeah,
there,
I think when we scouted this, Melissa or somebody saw it and said, let's have a rap party. Or Robin, let's have a rap party.
It worked. It was one of the best rap parties, too.
Oh, good.
But you were missing.
Oh, I wish I could have been there. I love that. I said, we got to get the Louboutins back for Laura. And so that shot, that low angle shot when she was sitting in the chair and you see the red end of the shoes, that was for Louboutin.
They're so Lydia.
So right below us is a construction site.
That's amazing.
In the afternoon, nephews were in his room all day. Bruckner saw him 3 times. Couple of specialists with her.
This is something so interesting about this little set of Gus's office is if you walk into this on the stage when no one's shooting, it really looks like nothing at all. It just looks like it's just the most boring little space you could ever imagine. And then when Marshall comes in and lights it,
it's beautiful.
suddenly
look at that.
it comes to life.
Yeah.
Is it not connected to anything?
No, it's a standalone little tiny box, and Marshall comes in and just makes it look beautiful.
there's a little tiny return outside, and that's about it, which is a little area outside the door. So there's a little something you see when the door opens, and that's it.
When we shot this, we had where the wall that the camera's on right now, that whole wall was out the entire time. So you really are working with a 3-walled set.
And of course, that.
I don't think I could ever move that slowly and think it. There's just no way. I watch him and I'm like, no way. Is blood even moving through his body?
And then 5 seconds earlier, he's joking.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
This is a totally new angle on this location we've been to 100 times before.
I love that our flag is at half-mast.
Yeah, it's so great. This was up in a condor, putting the camera in.
Did you put the flags at half-mast?
We did.
Well, Chuck's dead. Of course they're at half-mast.
Yeah. So here we come to the scene that everybody's looking forward to. Thanks, Tom. Everyone's been waiting for 3.5 years to have Ray yell at me.
She should have hit you, too. But,
Yeah, well, but this is a difficult scene because it was so freighted with a lot of history, and there definitely is a sense of injustice that people feel that Howard has visited upon Kim. And I think she speaks for a lot of the audience to sort of have a catharsis here on it. But, attacking it as an actor as well, I had to be careful of my own pitfalls and tendencies to want to overreach, play an emotion that I think is larger than life as opposed to what's appropriate for the scene. And that's what was really great having Michelle there, because she was a real great thermometer. And she was gentle in the way that she would try to convey, yeah, Patrick, that's too big. Bring that down. And it soothed my ego. And I think got us to exactly the right spot, because Ray can throw, she can use a stiletto, she can use a sledgehammer. She's really great at her tactics and how she attacks me in this. And it was hurtful. She's not here to speak for herself. I know, it was hurtful for me because both as an actor and as a friend, it's hard to have your friend yell at you like this. And I felt like she was wrong, and she was wrong for attacking me. And it really brought up brings up a lot of feelings when you're working with your friends like that on set and they're saying nasty things to you. And I know people out there, they're like, she's not saying nasty things, she's saying what deserves to be said. But there's two sides to every argument on this one. Trust me. Sorry, I'm going on and on.
No, I love this. I think Patrick did such a great job of, especially in this moment here, it's awkward. It's very, very awkward. And you have the mastery of being a lawyer with a lot of experience, but it's personal and there's emotion here, and you're handling the awkwardness great. And one of my favorite moments in this episode is when Anne Cusack leaves and Ray turns around and attacks you for the first time, and the look of hurt on your face and not understanding what's going on, but at the same time being professional and knowing you have to take this, I thought was fantastic.
Because there are things that Howard, if they were really to unleash on each other, there are things he could say back to Kim about.
Absolutely.
For sure. They could go toe to toe.
Well, we're back in the office, and it's, we're talking about Chuck and Jimmy, but this is where Howard, where manners, mores, and social norms are how he operates. Mm-hmm. And so when she steps out of that, it
discombobulates him.
It does. It takes him off balance.
Yeah.
Sounds like you need a hug, Patrick.
Howard needs a hug.
Howard needs a hug. That's the spin-off.
Is Howard married?
He has a ring on his finger.
So he is. But he has no picture of kids or his wife on
So far, we haven't seen that. No. But
he has a wedding ring.
He has a wedding ring, yeah. I just think the problem is Beyonce's been on tour for so long, and it's hard to get her schedule opened up. So, fingers crossed for the future, Michael. Thanks for asking.
Well, I don't want to keep you. Let me walk you up.
And just a side note, honestly, when I see myself doing those sort of gestures, that is, if you've never met my father, Tom Fabian, that's exactly what he does. That's exactly his mannerisms.
Well, I just love the subtlety of you so badly want to get out the door. I just want to say too here, Ray, the moment here between Ray and Anne is so genuine. There's so much tension and it's all uncomfortable. But when those two women say it was nice to see you, it was such a genuine moment. I loved it. Mm-hmm. I thought it was great.
I think Anne in this scene is so delicate and tender and profound at the same time, the way she's mourning Chuck. It's so graceful.
What were you thinking?
About?
What were you thinking when you came to Jimmy on the day of his brother's funeral and laid that shit on
I
him?
saw you walking around after that scene, Patrick. You indulged a little bit more in junk food that day.
I ran to some cupcakes.
And when we came up with this scene in the writers' room, I immediately had this feeling of, oh my God, we are gonna love. Sorry, Patrick. We're gonna love Kim for doing this.
Sure.
For just standing up and defending Jimmy. And
This is really one of her finest moments in the show.
Yeah, and she's got a number of fine moments. And again, I think because of the writing and the way you guys have crafted the story, it is such an earned moment.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't come to it too soon. It's a gun that's been loaded with all 6 chambers, and she fires them all.
She's wonderful.
I will say this, though, Michelle, I appreciate you for making me look pretty in the scene, though. As always, that's my first concern.
Because it's so hard not to make Patrick look pretty.
It's a lot of filters.
What was your biggest surprise, Patrick, of the when you guys read it? Because you guys rehearse at home, right? You guys all live together?
Yeah, we rehearsed at home, but the thing is, there was a ferocity that was unleashed on the day. You can see it right here. Like, she's almost splitting her skin, and there was a depth there that was alarming.
And also, Ray and I talked a lot about keeping it right up to the brink of breaking. So she's like hanging on to control, but she's about to crack, and so it's even that much more emotionally disarming, I think, for Patrick. And then I love that she brings it all together at the end here. Oof.
That final, there's nothing you can do. It really leaves me holding the bag of everything.
Yeah.
Although it's a very nice office, I have to say.
And I'll admit, there's a worry as a writer when you write things like where his brother died screaming. That could be too big. That could be, that's really pushing it. But in the hands of
Ray.
These actors, it's just...
It's amazing. That was a great
works.
scene. It was awesome.
Counter or couch?
Couch is good.
Couch it is.
We pitched the first 3 episodes of the season to Sony and AMC once they were broken, and we all pitched our individual episodes. And when I was pitching my episodes, you kind of just sort of reading it off the board, sort of improvising. And when I got to this scene, I, for whatever reason, just kind of blanked out. And when they meet on the couch, and I said out loud to the Sony executives, and then it's go time for sex. For whatever reason, was the phrase that popped into my head, and luckily they all laughed when I said that.
Everybody. That got everybody's attention.
I remember that.
Wait, you guys have to every season you pitch your first 3 you pitch an episode to Sony?
We break the episodes, and then because they are giving us the money and everything, they sort of want to know, okay, what's going to happen this season. So we all get together and pitch out, and it's actually goes on longer than the actual episodes take to watch. I think we spend about an hour per episode pitching everything that happens, because then we pitch in incredible detail for anybody who's ever seen our index cards and all the detail we put into them. We tend to give the network everything that's going on, so they have a full picture. We do that.
Every season, it's at least a 3-hour phone call.
And we try to pitch what's going on with the characters and what's going on in their inner lives, all the things that we think are going to come through on screen. So it's not just
kind of give some direction where it's going after there it is, go time for sex.
Go.
And that's to Sony or to AMC?
Both. Everybody's on the phone call. It's just us in the writer's room, and they're listening. Everybody wants to know, how did you get the fish to do that?
I just said, fish, go.
That's a real Kim Manners type direction. There's a famous X-Files story of him with the cockroaches.
Really?
Where he walked up, and we right before the camera rolled, he said, all right, you cockroach go left, you go right, and you come out straight. They rolled the cameras, and the cockroaches did exactly what he said in the episode.
I love it. That is a Kim moment. No, I was off camera though, begging the fish, come on, fish, swim now.
So it was luck then. It was. Okay. How many takes? Do you remember?
Just a few, because the fish was going around and around the tank.
Yeah, and it's a union fish. You can't make it do it too many times. So
underage fish.
So where'd you guys get an idea like this? Like I've never, thought about something like this costing money or someone steal. Where does that idea come from?
A lot of coffee and banging our heads against the wall.
Peter collects Hummels.
Always look, as we're moving forward, we always look into the past and things we've come from. And Hummels is always a thing that we always, it's been in Jimmy's life, and it felt like
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. We've got to talk about this.
Go.
This location is on stage, and we just could not fit in our schedule going on location. So we looked at this and we said, well, let's give it a try. And we could put a little wind and Bob's hair, and those street lights are Marshall put lights on the translite and
LED bulb.
LED, and in one take, they fall off.
That's right.
And and Peter, you and Tom, we talked about it, and we were like, okay, if it doesn't work, we won't use it. But it worked.
No, it works great.
It works great.
Wow.
And this
that was the
take here,
translight that's outside the windows.
Yeah.
It's not really meant to be shown.
I had
way.
no idea that it was on stage.
Oh, good. I'm so glad to hear that,
No
Mark.
idea.
Good.
Now this shot.
I was just going to say, this shot, it did take us a few times to do, and the camera getting that close to the car and swinging out, that was actually a mistake. Somebody overdrove, or the camera overdrove or something, and the cameraman, Paul, he saved it by doing that swing, and I went, oh my God, that's really cool. Let's use it.
It's great. And that's the third time this episode that a vehicle's driven right up to camera. And every single time it's
I
great.
tried to take the camera crew out, but we couldn't do it. No,
Jeremiah's wife, who plays Victor, was supposed to give birth this particular night.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Michael, you're right. Remember, we had to shoot.
Yeah, we shot everything.
She did get birth.
But
right?
it was a couple of days later.
Oh, was it? Okay. She
But
went
she
into
was
labor.
going in active labor.
Yeah.
We thought he was going to be a
So we brought a
daddy.
double in, and we shot his coverage first. That's right. Yeah. I love this scene because you got three badass dudes.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on here. And what, of course, Vincent and Michael don't know is the plan that Ray and Jeremiah have for them. So it's really a great fake out. And Michael, of course, is you're two-timing it here, really.
Oh.
You're pretending to be with Vincent, but you're the reason Mark is in the bed in the first place.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm two-timing it, but at the same time, I really am with Vincent in the sense that if once I pull my gun, I know that I might have to use it. I think that's why Nacho hates this situation, because he has to go through with it, and he's hoping these guys don't pull out their guns, because then we'll all end up dead.
Yeah, there's a sense I get. I don't know if you get it with Nacho. I feel like he's doing what he has to do.
Completely.
It's not like he's like, I want to be a badass. This
It's not
feels
what he
good
wants to do, yeah.
I feel like enjoy being a badass, which some of the other characters might. He's kind of doing the things he sees. This is the only way forward.
There's no arrogance. I think what I like about the way you guys wrote the character so much is there's no arrogance in his show of power. It's never coming from a place of wanting to dominate. It's coming of a place of, I need to do this to survive.
And this is another zoom.
Yep.
Terrific one.
Great music by Dave Porter.
You're looking a little shaky on the inside, baby.
I mean, it's just like...
Bullet
this
dodged,
is such a
right?
beautiful... Look at the moon. Look at the full moon up there. This
remember
is
that was
such a
huge,
beautiful
man.
sequence, Michelle.
Oh, thanks.
This is
Love
look at this shot.
overhead shot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh shit! I forgot.
Yeah, this was we were talking about. How would Gus take care of Arturo? Because we couldn't do a box cutter again, obviously. And for whatever reason, I said, he puts a bag over his head and with a zip tie, and let's let him suffocate. And it stuck.
That's how your mind works.
All those shots of Nacho, the reaction shots, were shot 3 months later with none of the original actors. Thomas, you were there, right?
That is correct.
We had to get some inserts.
This shot, this angle.
Yeah, all these angles.
Some of the close-ups on Arturo, the breathing bag.
Why was that? Why didn't you do them on the day?
Because we couldn't get everything on the day. It was
Didn't have
just
enough
too big for one night.
Yeah, and this is just behind. It's a whole other location too. Just
In fact,
Studios.
we actually had less than a day because we started at another location. We started at the chicken place, Los Pollos.
I love the way you use camera angles, like Michelle. Honestly, like it tells the story so well.
Thank you. I mean,
how is he not actually suffocating?
We had a hole in the back of the bag, so he's actually sucking the bag in, but with his face, making it looking like he can't breathe. And Tom and I would say have very similar styles. So Tom got the close-ups of Nacho there, and I think it blended together well. Thanks, Tom.
Thank you. I was very lucky to follow Michelle on several episodes because she directed everything I wrote on Breaking Bad, so I was always learning from her.
That's true.
Lucky
Everything?
me.
Most things.
Oh, wow.
Well,
Most
the
of my
first,
episodes.
I still remember when I read 1 minute of Breaking Bad, and I was sitting in bed, and I finished the script that Tom Schnauz wrote, and I thought, wow, I get to direct this? Don't screw it up. Tom's a great writer. And this is another awesome script. Thanks so much for having me, you guys.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Good
Wow.
episode.
Michelle.
Yay!